Hello Stonites, welcome to LFI Educates. Let us start with a new lesson, Geometry, lesson number 2. The topics we will discuss today are parallel and perpendicular and triangles.
Parallel, lines that are always the same distance apart. As you can see, I have two lines here. Now if I check the distance between the two lines, I'll check here, here and here. They are all the same. So such lines are known as parallel lines. If I continue to draw the line from here, and if I check the distance, it will still be the same, and the same thing would be on the other side. Perpendicular. Lines that intersect or cross over at right angles are known as perpendicular lines. Now, right angles. An angle measuring 90 degree is known as a right angle. A right angle checker is used to check whether the angle is 90 degree or not. So what you need to do is, you just need one paper like this. It can be any paper, and you just fold it in half like this. Now once you have the half, you fold it again like this. Now this is your 90 degree or your right angle checker. Now this angle here, this angle is 90 degree. So let's make one perpendicular line. I have two lines here and I have kept them in 90 degree. Now if I check the angle like this, you can see that the angle between these two lines are 90 degree. It will be the same. It will be the same in all four angles, 90 degree, and also 90 degree. We have to remember that we have to check from this angle here. So this is the 90 degree checker or the right angle checker, and this is your perpendicular lines. If we look around a classroom, we can find number of things that are in parallel and perpendicular. So here are certain things that I have taken from the classroom which have parallel lines and perpendicular lines. What you can do is, in your own homes, you can find number of things that are parallel and perpendicular. You can just make a list and you can note it down in your note copies. From the alphabets, let us see which of the alphabets have parallel lines. The first alphabet is A. Does this have a parallel line? Well, I do not see any. I don't think A has any parallel lines. The next is B. Now, does this have a parallel line? Now, if you draw properly, now we can see this line, and this line, they are all parallel. So, B has a set of parallel lines. Now, C. Do you think this has a parallel line? Well, it depends on how you write, but in this case, I do not think so. It has a parallel line. Now, what about D? Now, what do you think about D? Now, D, this line and this line till it comes here is a parallel line, because this line and this line, they are parallel lines. So we can say D is also an alphabet which has parallel lines. Now what about E? We can clearly see that this one, and this one, they are all parallel. Now F, again we can see that this line and this line, they are parallel. Now G does not have any parallel lines. What do you think about H? Now, parallel lines, it's not necessary that it has to be sideways. It can also be vertically straight. So, this line and this line is a parallel line. So H is also an alphabet which has parallel lines. Now what do you think about I? Now again, it depends on how you write I. Now let's say we write the capital I like this. Now we see that this line and this line is a parallel line. Now J, I do not see any parallel lines in J. Now what about K? Again, K also does not have any parallel lines. L, it does not have any parallel line, but you can see an L has a perpendicular. So what you can do is you can find out from the alphabets which alphabets have perpendicular lines as well. But as of now, I'll just do the parallel lines. Now what about M? Do you think M has a set of parallel lines? This line and this line is a parallel line. What about N? This line, okay, this line and this line is again a parallel line. What about O? O definitely does not have a parallel line. What about P? I don't think so. Again, it depends on how you are writing the alphabet. Q, it does not have. R, like I said, it depends on how you're writing, but in this case I'll just say it does not have. S, no. What about T? It definitely does not have. U, okay, we can say that this line and this line is a parallel line. Okay, what about V? It is not a parallel line. W, again, it does not have a parallel line. But again, like I said, it depends on how you are writing the alphabet. X, no. Y, no. Z, or some call it Z, this line and this line is a parallel line. So from the English alphabets, these are the alphabets that have parallel line. Now B, D, E, F, H, I, M, N, U, and Z. So these are the alphabets that have parallel lines. Like I said again, it all depends on how you write and how you're looking at it. Like some people may say, but B does not have. You are correct, because it depends on how you're writing. Now if you're writing B like this, now this looks like a parallel line, but if you're writing B like this, now this is not a parallel line.
Triangles are closed figures that have 3 sides and 3 angles. The first triangle that we will be learning about is equilateral triangle. A triangle with all sides equal and all angles equal are known as equilateral triangle. Let's take an example of an equilateral triangle. Here I have 3 lines that are of the same length. So let's make an equilateral triangle. This is an example of an equilateral triangle. Now you see all the sides of this triangle are the same, and if you measure the angles of the triangle, they will also be the same. The next triangle that we will be learning is isosceles triangle. A triangle with 2 sides equal and 2 angles same are known as isosceles triangle. Here I have 2 lines of the same length and 1 line of different length. So let's make an isosceles triangle. This angle here is an example of an isosceles triangle. These 2 sides are the same and this side is different. So this is an example of an isosceles triangle.
Scalene triangle. A triangle with no angles equal and no sides equal is known as a scalene triangle. Here I have three lines. They are all of three different lengths. So let's make a scalene triangle. Now this is an example of a scalene triangle. As you can see, all the three sides are different, and if you check, the three angles will also be different. So this is an example of a scalene triangle. Right angle triangle. A triangle where one angle is equal to 90 degree or right angle is known as a right angle triangle. So let's make a right angle triangle. So this is an example of right angle triangle. Now I will bring the right angle checker that I had made earlier and check the right angle. So as you can see, it is a right angle here. So this triangle becomes a right angle triangle. This is question number 1 from page number 28-29. From this, we have to find out which of these triangles are equilateral, scalene, and isosceles. First, you have to join the dots and make a triangle like this, and then we can find out which of the triangles are scalene, isosceles, or equilateral. Let's look at question number A. So this is a equilateral triangle. So let's write A here. Now what about B? What type of triangle do you think is B? It is a isosceles triangle. Now what about C? Now C is also an isosceles triangle because this line and this line are the same. So what you can do is you can use your scale to measure the distance. Now look at number D. Now does this look like a triangle? I don't think this looks like a triangle. This looks like a straight line. So D we will write not a triangle. Now what about E? If you look closely, this line and this line, they are the same, but this line is different. So let's make two lines stating that these two lines are same and this is different. Now this becomes an isosceles triangle. So E is an isosceles triangle. Now what about F? If you look carefully, all the three lines, they look the same. So I will write F as an equilateral triangle. Now what about G? Now G also looks the same. Now all the three lines are same, so this is also a equilateral triangle. Now what about H? We have this line and this line and this line. You can easily notice that all three lines are different. So it becomes a scalene triangle. So H is a scalene triangle. Now what about I? Now I also looks like a scalene triangle because this line and this line, they are all different. So I is a scalene triangle. Now J again here is a straight line, so it is not a triangle. Now what about K? Now K, if you notice this line and this line, it looks the same. So only two sides are same, so it becomes an isosceles triangle. So K is an isosceles triangle. Now what do you think about L? Now L, this line and this line, they are all different. So again this becomes a scalene triangle. So there you have it. Equilateral triangle. A, F and G are equilateral triangle. Scalene triangle. H, I and L are scalene triangle. B, C, E and K are the isosceles triangle, and D and J, they are not a triangle, they just look like a straight line.
That is all we have for today. Do submit your assignments on time. Till then, take care and have a good day.